This program was made possible by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.
On the eastern coast of Ireland, along the Irish Sea, lies an emerald gem, Dublin. It's a larger-than-life city that's been Ireland's capital since medieval times. From the stones of treasured landmarks to the immortal pages of literary giants, Dublin's charm has proven to be irresistible. I'm Frank McCourt. Come take a walk with me through the streets of this bewitching city. We'll stop for a pint or two and discover where the spirit of Ireland truly flows. The politics.
Most of our revolutions, I think, were organised in pubs at some stage or another.
You'd have politicians, bankers, lawyers, barristers discussing the different finances of the country. It's very, very interesting.
The history.
James Connolly was brought in here and court-martialed sitting up in bed before he was brought out and shot.
Somewhere like this, it's uniquely Irish, it's uniquely Dublin.
The crack.
Everyone seems to talk, strangers talk.
We love to talk about people, we love to talk to people, we love to find out what makes people tick.
The good times.
It was so much fun going to that pub.
All celebrated in the public houses, the historic pubs of Dublin. Historic, sure, but Dublin is also a living and energetic city. The best place to feel the energy is here on Grafton Street.
Hello, welcome to Brown Thomas.
Grafton Street is a short street, but it's the centre of the Dublin shopping district. You can get everything here. It's a gathering place, a kind of an international gathering place, especially for young people. Nestled in neighbourhoods radiating out from Grafton Street, each Dublin pub has its own tale to tell. Their bricks and mortar alive with the political and literary history of Ireland. Older than almost any city in America, their memories sharp as the day they opened. I know where I'm going. To the oldest of the historic Dublin pubs, the Brazen Head. 800 years old. Doesn't look a day over 400. In 1803, a group of men met here in the Brazen Head to plot a revolt against the English. They were called the United Irishmen. But they were betrayed by a spy, an informer, maybe somebody who had too much to drink. The leader, one of the leaders, was Robert Emmet. He was captured, tried, hanged. They say still that his ghost haunts the Brazen Head. The Brazen Head is the perfect start to our tour of Dublin and its pubs. Brimming with history and a well-earned reputation as a place overflowing with plentiful drink, good music and frivolity. Mementos of Robert Emmet and Michael Collins still hang around the Brazen Head. It's been a haven for famous rebellious figures down through the ages, and for good reason.
This building itself has been here since about 1759. So it was one of the tallest buildings in Dublin. The Georgian houses only went 3 stories. This went actually 5 stories. So the Brazen Head stood out on its own. So rebels used to all meet here because it was a great vantage point, because it's a catacomb of little rooms everywhere. So it had a great vantage point all over the city. And that's how they were able to escape out of here quite easily.
These days, the Brazen Head is frequented by a wide variety of locals and tourists alike. It's a great place to enjoy the crack. Irish for the bantering and gossip that inevitably flows among pub-goers as freely as the Guinness. So, take a sip, settle back, and allow me to carry on a bit regarding the history depicted on these and other pub walls. Fighting for Irish freedom was quite dramatic. In 1916, taking inspiration from Robert Emmet's foiled insurrection over a century earlier, James Connolly and Padraig Pearse led a revolt against the English and took charge of the General Post Office on Easter Monday. This insurrection failed. The top 15 leaders were rounded up and brutally executed, shot at Kilmainham Jail. With those shots, the tide of support turned dramatically. A handful of years later, Michael Collins and Eamon de Valera took up the cause with a new tactic, guerrilla warfare. The result was the Anglo-Irish Treaty signed by Collins. All but 6 counties in the north of Ireland were free of English rule. After signing the treaty, Collins said, "This morning, I sign my death warrant." He was right. What followed was an Irish Civil War and the assassination of Michael Collins, now solidified as a hero for Irish freedom. The event started with the 1916 Easter Rising, undeniably shaped what Ireland is today, and are reflected on the walls of many of the pubs. You can still visit the Kilmainham Jail and the General Post Office. If you look close enough, you can see the bullet holes. And along with the Brazen Head pub, the Old Stand and Davy Byrne's were safe houses for Michael Collins and his group. The history lives on here in Dublin and in the hearts of its people. Ask for a pint in Ireland and they'll draw you a Guinness. Ask for a pint of Guinness anywhere in the world and they'll know there's a bit of Irish in you. The famous Guinness Stout is based on the porter style of beer that originated in London in the early 1700s. I remember the dramatic blackness, but my taste buds need a refresher. God bless you. This is the Gravity Bar. It's usually the last stop on a tour of the Guinness storehouse. First, visitors learn about the ingredients that go into this famous stout: water, barley, hops, yeast, and of course, the brewing talents of Arthur Guinness. Guinness began first by brewing ales in 1759, but in 1799 he decided to brew only the darker stout, due to its popularity in England at the time. As an added bonus, he was able to avoid the taxes and thus make it more affordable. I can't help but recall from earlier days how much Guinness was and is a part of the life fabric here in Dublin.
A lot of people think Guinness is the best medicine you can have.
What about what stuff I used to hear when I was a kid, that Guinness is good for nursing mothers?
Well, I mean, that was genuinely believed. That was not a myth.
Yeah.
And there were posters to say that and was recommended in hospitals. And if you gave your blood donation here, you got a pint of Guinness after your blood donation.
That's very civilised.
Very civilised.
Ireland's consumption of Guinness through the ages can be attributed not only to social aspects, tradition and advertising, but also to taste and freshness.
Here at St James's Gate Brewery, we brew around 3 million pints every day. About 2/3 of those go for export across the world. So, for example, the Guinness that you'll be drinking in the United States comes right here from Dublin, but about 1/3 of that stays here in Ireland.
That's an ocean of Guinness. This is an inviting stop for tourists, but I know of an inviting pub where locals go for a tasty Guinness pint. An institution, a classic, a masterpiece. Mulligan's of Poolbeg Street, built in 1782. This pub is a tabernacle to the serious drinker. No food served here. Sometimes when you focus on just one thing, you become really good at it. Connoisseurs say the pint at Mulligan's is the best in the country. And that's quite an honour when you consider all the pints that are poured here every day.
This is how to pull the perfect pint. Tilt the glass, 3/4 fill, just like so. And we leave it to settle there. We leave it to settle so as the cream comes to the top, so as it won't overspill when we put the second part on. This is the second part of the pull now. And we fill it up to the top, and we let it settle again. And that's your perfect pint.
In the old days, the locals in this pub may have enjoyed a perfect pint with John F. Kennedy when he worked for the Hearst Corporation, or even James Joyce was known to stop in for a pint or two here. This place really hasn't changed much over the years, except for the addition of some furniture. In the early 20th century, the owner, James Mulligan, banned all seats and stools. He said that when real men drank, they stood. On their feet or not, patrons here can always count on a top-notch pint in a low-key atmosphere. Majestic Dublin Castle is tough to ignore, as it's perched right in the very heart of Dublin. Built at the beginning of the 13th century, this castle has tourists whispering to each other, "This place doesn't look very medieval. What happened?" Well, actually, due to devastating fire in 1684, the Record Tower is the only remaining structure from the original castle. The rest was rebuilt. This castle was the seat of British rule until 1922, when everything changed.
Eventually then, in 1922, ceasefire was called and the handover took place in the yard, the upper castle yard of Dublin Castle, and that entailed Michael Collins, who was the equivalent to Prime Minister at the time of the new Provisional Government of Ireland, and the last Viceroy, who was Fitzalan Howard.
Michael Collins was laid to rest here in Glasnevin Cemetery, and people from all over the world still come to pay their respects. Many of the men and women who helped shape modern Ireland are laid to rest here. It's 120 acres now, but started with only 9 acres, as an unprecedented burial ground where both Protestants and Catholics could give their dead a dignified burial. Believe it or not, over 1.5 million people are now buried here. Located well north of the city centre, Glasnevin Cemetery opened its gates in 1832. And guess what opened up next door only a year later? A pub, and quite a good one at that. Kavanagh's was founded in 1833. Because of its location next to Glasnevin Cemetery, it's been known for a long time as the Gravedigger's Bar. Many a horse-drawn funeral stopped here, and I'm sure the mourners before and after the burial would stop in here to mourn in a liquid way.
Most people are loyal to their own premise where they drink what they call their local. But on a funeral day, they could be from anywhere, and they have don't know anything about your pride or your values or your rules, and you could have a hard day's work. There was an old tradition here where the gravediggers were not allowed drink during their working day, and they used to come to the wall and knock on the wall with a stone. And my father and his people before him knew by the knocks who it was and what their drinks were. Now I brought the drinks out of here, and now some people said it went through the wall. It didn't. Out through the door and through the railings.
The 6th, 7th and 8th generation of Kavanagh publicans are sitting around this table. A miraculous and rare legacy, and a lovely testament to long-standing pub traditions in Dublin. Walls and shelves around here are full of history, drawers stuffed with memorabilia, each item having a story.
Yeah, it was the Second World War, you see. There was a shortage of glass, and at that time you could get jam in an earthenware jar. So there was a lot of jars in this place, and not a lot of glass. So the grave diggers would come to the wall, get their drink in a jar, a jam jar. So it became, are you going for a jar? And that's where it originated, from the grave diggers in this pub.
Was that a good job, being a grave digger?
It was a secure job.
Steady job. Find your way to Kavanagh's. The ale is expertly pulled and the local crack among the best. Don't be afraid to join in. No such thing as outsiders here. Once a 10th century Viking settlement, the Temple Bar area is now a cultural and a commercial centre with its trendy restaurants, art galleries and interesting pubs. The Palace Bar is within Temple Bar. Because of its proximity to the Irish Times, journalists have long frequented the Palace Bar to quench their thirst or hash out a story. But journalists aren't the only ones who have wrangled words here.
If you go into the Palace Bar, you will see caricatures, drawings, photographs of many of the great writers that would have spent some time in there. Almost any pub in the centre of Dublin has some connection with the great writers. I even have drawings in a pub, but they're not about me, they're just my own drawings.
The Palace Bar was a favourite haunt for writers like Patrick Kavanagh, Flann O'Brien, Brendan Behan. The literary connection with pubs here in Dublin may have started in the 18th century, when the connection was quite literal. Publishers, printing offices and taverns often shared a building, or maybe the practice of holding book auctions near or even in pubs had an influence. Whatever the case, the literary tie to the Palace Bar is strong. The inviting sunlit back room is not what you would normally find in a pub, but the patrons are obviously enjoying themselves. Yes, we do see the sunshine here in Dublin.
Most of our time has been spent in Dublin, and it's been absolutely beautiful.
The Irish people are just so, they take care of you, they're just so pleasant at all times.
Women weren't allowed drinking in bars, really. So these little snugs had a little hatch that the women could actually press a little bell, and the barman went down and served them.
We got plenty of Americans in this bar anyway. We welcomed them with open arms.
Everybody is really friendly in the pubs. I think it's really make us feel like home.
I am going in for a sample. The River Liffey runs through the centre of the city, dividing into north side and south side. I'm on the Halfpenny Bridge. For 100 years or so, this was the only way you could cross the Liffey River, though you had to pay half a penny to get across. That's how the bridge got its name. I've watched this river change from transporting trade items to more recently becoming a waterway for tourists. Visitors taking tours along the Liffey may hear stories of ghosts haunting its tunnels. Dublin is filled with fantastic tales like that, and oftentimes fact and legend blend together to create an irresistible Irish lore. Indeed, these yarns are even mentioned in the works of some of Dublin's literary greats. There are two places to get to know this city's literary celebrities. The pubs, where Irish novelists, poets and playwrights famously lifted their glasses and lowered their pens, and here, at the Dublin Writers' Museum, the rooms are stuffed with memorabilia, photos and sculptures documenting the great Irish writers: James Joyce, Oscar Wilde. Ireland boasts 4 winners of the Nobel Prize for Literature: W.B. Yeats, George Bernard Shaw, Samuel Beckett and Seamus Heaney. The Irish, we love fine literature and a good story, even by old scribes like me. You're a teacher? Where?
In Milwaukee, in the inner city.
What level?
5th through 8th grade. Novels and writing.
You're a hero.
Your books are fantastic.
Thank you very much.
I adore them.
Many famous writers attended Trinity College. Oliver Goldsmith, Jonathan Swift, Bram Stoker. The list is as lengthy as Trinity is old. It's been here since 1592. In 1969, I was admitted as a PhD candidate to Trinity College. The Archbishop of Dublin, the Catholic Archbishop, had forbidden Catholics to go to this college. But I came anyway. I didn't get permission or the degree.
Queen Elizabeth founded this university in order to encourage good Protestants in the country, because Catholics were getting their education in the Catholic universities in Europe. And she distrusted the Catholic religion because she was at war with Spain, which was largely a Catholic country. So there is a certain Protestant ethos about this university.
These days, the students here are mostly Catholic. Some say as much as 90%. When I attended Trinity, I always marvelled at the immensity of the main chamber of the old library. It's called the Long Room. You can see why. This chamber alone houses about 200,000 of the library's oldest books. The most well-known resident of the old library is the treasured 9th century religious manuscript, the Book of Kells, a 680-page copy of the Gospels written in Latin. It's a big deal. The illustrations are incredible and so well preserved for having been created in 800 AD. It's protected in a glass case, but every now and then they turn to a new page. Given the age of the college, women are a relatively new sight at Trinity. One well-known graduate is Ireland's first female president, Mary Robinson.
We were the first university in the British Isles to allow women into one of the old traditional universities. And the provost who died in 1904, a man called George Salmon, he swore that women would only be allowed into this university over his dead body. Yeah. Well, he died, and he was buried in the grounds of Trinity College. And the women were not allowed in the front door, they had to come in a side door. And every day they walked over his dead body.
Across from Trinity College is O'Neill's. A pub has stood on this site for over 300 years. This elaborate pub has so many nooks and crannies, you could hide here forever. It's one of those places that envelops the senses, the sights, the sounds, and the tastes.
Here in the pub, not only can you enjoy a nice draft, but also good quality food. And I'm finished with mine, and it was really good.
Believe it or not, the food served in pubs around Ireland, the pub grub, is becoming more sophisticated, allowing pub lovers the chance to whet their appetites and wet their whistle at the same time. The bars at O'Neill's, yes, there are several, are usually propped up by locals and Trinity College students. Visitors will immediately notice the impressive stained glass everywhere. The ornate staircase and antique fireplace also stand out as unique features. I'm quite certain the people rushing by on their way to classes or to work wish instead that they were stopping into O'Neill's for a tipple or two. We're about to find out where Dublin's news headlines, legislative bills and political debates have been rolled out over the years. There's a lot of business as usual that goes on when the pints are being pulled at Doheny and Nesbitt's.
Every Tuesday, Wednesday nights when the Dáil is sitting, you'd have all the TDs coming around here about 10:30, 11 o'clock, meeting different constituents, discussing business with The different business people from around the city, all sitting in the snugs, having a chat, discussing the different finances of the country. It's very, very interesting.
But as tempting as you might think it would be for the barman to blab about the conversations he's heard or had at Nesbitt's, that would break a sacred silent oath.
Another thing about being a barman is like being the priest. The stories you hear, you don't tell anybody else. It's just part of the job that secrets go in one ear and stay in, and that's it. You don't tell anybody else.
Once you poured your heart out, take a long walk past St. Stephen's Green to the other side of Grafton Street and visit the Long Hall. Inside, it might look like time stalled a couple of 100 years ago, but in reality is still ticking away. This clock is over 250 years old and proudly declares it has the correct time. Gives me hope to see something old that's still working right. The Long Hall is appropriately named for several reasons.
Well, the pub gets its name, the Long Hall, from the fact that there used to be a hallway that ran the length of the bar, which was in place up till 1951, and up until that time women weren't allowed in the bar. It was men only, and they used to be in the hallway. The bar then had several hatches down the back of the bar through which the staff could serve the ladies in the hall.
This pub, quite expectedly, is said to have one of the longest bars in Dublin. Just one of the features preserved down through the years.
In a lot of bars in Dublin, a lot of the more modern bars, you could be in any city in the world. You know, the chrome and whatnot. There's nothing to distinguish whereabouts you are, whereas somewhere like this, it's uniquely Irish, it's uniquely Dublin. And it just oozes character and charm.
The pewter pitchers, brass jugs and portraits on the walls take me back, as a poem on the wall says, to a time of waltzes and wine.
You have to have some element of where you came from, I suppose, and I think you have to keep some elements of the past still in the present. You can't just let them be knocked down, taken away, you know. And I think by virtue of the fact that this, along with 12 or 14 other Dublin pubs, has a preservation order on it, that ensures that.
History preserved, indeed a wise idea. There's one part of Dublin's history that my taste buds have been eager to explore. James Joyce wrote, "The light music of whiskey falling into a glass is an agreeable interlude." That music has been heard all over the world thanks to Jameson Irish whiskey. Not only do the Irish drink it, but they sing about it. Whiskey in the jar, or moonshine, which originally was whiskey, 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 I love you. The juice of the barley for me. It's known all around the world. Here at the old Jameson distillery, history buffs can relish the tour of this ancient distillery. Or, like some visitors, simply endure the tour to get to the grand finale, the whiskey tasting.
This is the original centre that was founded by John Jameson in the year 1780. And Irish whiskey, Jameson Irish whiskey, was made here between the years of 1780 and 1971. And then the production moved from here to a little town in Middleton in County Cork, where Jameson Irish whiskey is made today.
Visitors learn about the raw materials, barley and water, the triple distillation process, and most importantly, the people who have made whiskey throughout the centuries.
For a lot of people, those who have connections in Dublin, are coming to see a very nostalgic story that would have related to some of their ancestors who worked here in the distillery. And I feel we play a really big part in showing a period in time at the early 1900s where people worked in this distillery, and people really get a feel for it in the way that we've put the entire story together, and it's very realistic. We've preserved a part of our traditions and our cultures that people can relate to.
It reminds me of my innocence. My taste buds finally get the history lesson they've been looking forward to. There's a lot to learn about this liquid gold. What's the longest time where they keep the whiskey in the barrel?
It could be up to 25, 30 years in a barrel easily. Now,
would be
the minimum would be 5 years. We actually have a map in the distillery down in Middleton. We have a map there of the world, and has percentages for growths every year, and pretty much around the world the percentages are very, very strong.
So the whole world is developing a very exquisite taste.
They are developing it. They're developing the taste for it.
It shows there's great improvement in the world.
Well, that's it.
And I won't worry about it.
They're all acquiring a bit of taste finally.
Dublin pubs have also acquired new attitudes on certain matters. You've come a long way, baby. And that's what I think about when I sit in the snug in Kehoe's pub. Women sat in here. They were confined to this little cubicle called the snug. If you wanted a drink, you pressed this bell. There was a little window here, and the barman brought you your drink. And usually the women drank sherry. Once in a while, the barman would pass them a whiskey, because it wasn't respectable to drink pints. 20 years ago, women couldn't order a pint. They had a half pint or a glass of Guinness. So these days are over. The snug now is a place for privacy, no longer for the isolated woman. Like several other Dublin pubs, Kehoe's used to sell groceries along with the drink, hence the term spirit grocer. The old cash register is still here, and the wooden drawers that held rice and tea. Customers would come in here for items on their way to the back bar for a pint. Those days are gone now. Patrons can leave their grocery list at home. The Victorian era decor carries its age well, but it hasn't always been easy on pub patrons. The wooden partitions here at Kehoe's guarantee you a great deal of privacy, but be careful when you go to the toilets. You might bang your head in the door. Although they're padded now, not like the old days when Brendan Behan was here, Patrick Kavanagh. They banged their heads, but they probably didn't feel it because they had a bit too much, maybe. Writers, you know, are a bit hard-headed. Behan used to say, "Actually, I'm a drinker with writing problems." He was probably right. For as much as writers continue to be legends in Dublin pubs, so too do musicians. Music is a lively part of the pub experience in Dublin.
It's a different type of music because they're going to the crowds. You know, you have to have something loud and something full of life so people stay interested and keep listening. So I just love it.
Patrons may start out just listening, but often the participation becomes more, shall we say, enthusiastic.
We did go to a pub last night in Temple Bar. They had this wonderful singer, and what surprised me, being from California and going to what you would call your typical bar, everyone in the bar was singing along with this singer, so it was so much fun going to that pub.
Rich man, poor man, beggar man, why sail away into the night? Where they'll end up, no one knows. Round and round the story goes. Rich man, poor man, beggar man, why sail away into the night? Where they'll end up, no one knows. Round and round the story goes, round and round the iceberg flows.
Irish music is infectious, a fact not lost upon Queen Elizabeth I, who squelched it in her efforts to destroy all elements of Gaelic history and culture. She ordered her soldiers to hang the harpers and burn their instruments. The harp, you see, was once the most famous Irish instrument. Some chieftains even took their harps into battle.
I love you well today, I love you more tomorrow. If you ever love me, Molly, love me now.
The Irish traditional music that's played today, often called trad by the locals, evolved from about the 17th century when it was passed down orally through the generations. Amidst all of the atrocities that befell Ireland, the music survived.
Where the strawberry beds, sweep down to the Liffey, you kiss
At the core of traditional Irish music are a handful of instruments, including the Uilleann pipes or the so-called Irish bagpipes. The bodhrán and some of the instruments we see played in pubs today were adopted down through the years. The good news is that you don't have to pronounce them or play them to enjoy the fantastic music they make. Dublin city centre pubs are obviously not the only places to hear musicians playing catchy Irish tunes. A few miles from the city centre is a rustic pub in the foothills of the Dublin mountains, the Blue Light. In ancient times, music was played in homes and churches before eventually moving to the local pub. It's easy to picture that past here in the present. There seem to be no strangers at the Blue Light. People come to play music together. Some call it a session, a bit like a jam session in America, but here in Ireland, participants are supposed to know or learn the tunes and play melody, not improvisation.
On the day that we were to be married, I went for a ramble instead. Silver and apart from the mountains below, I think I would rather be dead. I'm a rambler, I'm Manchester way. Get on with pleasure, the hard road we play. Maybe wasting a long day, but I am a free man on Sunday.
Sometimes you'll still find an informal system of leadership by seniority in these musical get-togethers, but if you're a musician, you're welcome. Irish music has penetrated every corner of the universe. Thomas Davis, poet, politician, said, "No enemy speaks slightly of Irish music. No friend need fear to boast of it. It is without rival." Down the ages, Irish musicians have expressed the whole panorama of emotions, sorrow and joy. They rouse soldiers to battle, they lullaby babies to sleep. In Dublin, music is the universal language that knits us all together. How are you, old friend? The reason the ceilings are so tall here, this used to be the Dublin morgue.
It's impossible to overstate the importance of Jonathan Swift to us here.
If you can make it at O'Donoghue, you can make it anywhere. There's a lot to see in Dublin City. The green hills in the distance, the varied architecture along the byways, and the interesting people passing by. But sometimes it pays to look down too. This mosaic marker points the way to one of Dublin's finest public houses, the Stag's Head. Built in 1770, this place received an overhaul in 1895 at the peak of Victorian pub building. The stained glass, rich wood and leather seats remind me of a grand theatre, except for maybe one thing, the mounted head on the wall.
Well, the Stag's Head is an old wives' tale to say that going back over 100 years ago, there was a herd of deer being marched up to Dublin for slaughter from the west, I think, and one of them broke loose on Dame Street and went a bit crazy and had a run at the building, and his head got stuck in the front door. How true that is, I don't know, but it's what I've heard.
The namesake of the pub is highly respected around here, from the stained glass to once having been memorialised on an Irish postage stamp. There's also a stuffed fox in the place to keep him company and to provide a creative conversation starter for pub goers. This fella has seen a lot from his perch up here. He might have seen James Joyce sipping a pint in the corner. Or he might have seen various production crews in here, like the crew from Educating Rita. This was a favourite haunt of mine in my Trinity College days. I came in here when I was supposed to be studying. So, how are you, old friend? The relationship between writers and pubs in Dublin has always been very strong. Patrick Kavanagh, the poet, and James Joyce. Even W.B. Yeats heard about this tradition, and he wanted to go to the pubs and witness this Elizabethan atmosphere. His friend Gogarty, Oliver St. John Gogarty, brought him here to Toners. They ordered a sherry. Yeats stood there. Nothing happened. He said to Gogarty, "Lead me from this." Toners is another pub that started as a spirit grocer with shelves and drawers to prove it. It's resisted change and stayed true to its original character. I've come to relax and enjoy a pint here many times. There's a bar in the basement too. The overwhelming feeling I get when I'm in Toners is that I'm sitting in a rural pub from ages ago. It's homey, comfortable, a sanctuary for the weary soul. There are perhaps better sanctuaries for the soul in Dublin. As important as poets, musicians and pubs are to Irish culture, so too is religion. For almost 1,000 years, Christ Church Cathedral is known to have had at least one ringing bell. This cathedral has been the seat of the Protestant Archbishop of Dublin since medieval times. Every time I come here, I discover something new. In the architecture, in the stained glass windows, in the statuary, in the monuments around, the plaques that tell you about people who came here. You think about the people who built this church, what motivated them, what powerful faith guided them.
Treble's ready, treble's going, she's gone.
The Christ Church ringers and the ringing master rehearse regularly and take great pride in their precision performance and the heritage it holds. Visitors are only very rarely allowed here. But you can explore the church crypt as you like. Yes, it's a little spooky, the shadows can play tricks on you sometimes, but the interesting statues and artefacts are worth the walk around this, the largest cathedral crypt in Ireland. Back above ground, cars whiz by under the stone arch extending from Christ Church. Some may take the time to admire the church and its role in the city landscape. Others may not even notice. And some tourists may actually call it St. Patrick's by mistake. After all, there are 2 ancient cathedrals in Dublin. This is St. Patrick's Cathedral. It's a little younger than Christ Church, but has just as much history to share. Music too.
Music is an extremely important part of our worship and our heritage here, and we've had song services daily in this cathedral unbroken for almost 500 years.
There are parts of this beautiful church that can be dated back to 1190. In the 19th century, it was totally renovated by the Guinness family. But the rich historical and religious significance has always stayed the same. This cathedral is not shy about sharing its stories. There are statues, flags, plaques and stained glass telling historical and religious tales. And with Dublin's rich literary environment, it's no surprise that pubs didn't corner the market on inspiration. St. Patrick's had its own famous writer as well. Is there a child in the world who hasn't heard of Gulliver's Travels or hasn't read it? Is there any person of any kind of literary bent who hasn't heard of A Modest Proposal? Both were written by Jonathan Swift, who died in 1745 and who rests here in St. Patrick's Cathedral in Dublin. An important man to this church, as he was dean here for many years. Dubliners like to relate the tale of the two women in Swift's life, Vanessa and Stella.
The connection between Stella and Jonathan Swift is a very interesting one. Throughout their lives together, there were rumours that they perhaps were married. It's unlikely that was ever the case. Stella was a very close friend of his, and while he was living with an aristocratic family called the Temple family in England, Stella was brought up as a member of the household, as was he, although they were not members of that household. And he was made responsible for her education and so forth. So when he came to Ireland here, she also came. She was only 19 years of age, and she lived here in the city near Jonathan Swift with her companion Rebecca Dingley. And of course, she's immortalised through his writings as Stella. That was his pet name for her. His lover or girlfriend, whatever way you'd like to put it, was another Esther van Homering, Vanessa, as she was known through his writings. And she followed him here as well from England and lived quite close to the city. She died quite early, actually, in her mid-30s. And also, of course, Stella predeceased him. So towards the end of his life, in his late 70s, no doubt he was quite a lonely individual, but very, very concerned that his private life shouldn't be discussed. And here we are 250 years later, bemused and amused by it. So there you are.
Let's get back to a place where one can safely discuss their private life. I can hear it outside as I draw near. Lively crack dancing up the walls and off the ceiling, although in McDade's it takes a little longer to get up there, way up there. The high ceilings are attributed to McDade's having once been Dublin's morgue, where they supposedly needed room to stack bodies. An Irish saying comes to mind: "May the roof above us never fall in, and may we friends gathered below never fall out." I came in many times myself when I was a student at Trinity College. The talk was always wonderful. Famous writers like Patrick Kavanagh used to frequent McDade's. It's always been a rich breeding ground for creativity. Brendan Behan would come in too and add to the chatter. Everybody in Ireland knew Brendan Behan, and half of America knew him too. He was a playwright, a poet, a novelist, and a rebel. Brendan would start writing at 7 o'clock in the morning, finish at noon, and then come here to McDade's. He died, I think, when he was about 39. And when the nun came to visit him in his last day, he said, thank you, sister, and may all your sons be bishops." Wait a minute, go back a bit. This picture of the old stand is hung upside down on purpose because a former owner of McDade's had a bit of rivalry with the old stand's owner at the time. I just thought you might like to know that. Move along. Oh, to be spending an afternoon sharpening conversational skills in the nooks and crannies of this place, or taking a stroll with nowhere in particular to go. I could spend the rest of my life walking the park of Dublin. Absolutely grand. You can hardly tell we're surrounded by a city at all. Splendid fountains, lush grass and pleasant walkways make the Dublin parks a popular respite for locals and tourists. This is St. Stephen's Green. In 1880, the layout was donated to the city by Sir Arthur Guinness. There are 3 statues here of famous Irishmen. One everybody in the world knows, which is James Joyce. Another was Robert Emmet, who's known generally to the Irish as a rebel. And then there was Thomas Kettle, who was a poet, a soldier, a philosopher, who was killed in World War I. Their statues are here in St. Stephen's Green. James Joyce was probably Ireland's greatest writer. He's the most renowned writer in the world. He was born in Dublin and he died in Trieste in 1941. The books that he's famous for are Dubliner's Portrait of the Artist Ulysses at Finnegan's Wake. In Ulysses, he takes you around Dublin and visits dozens and dozens of pubs. He probably knew every pub in Dublin and wrote about them. We're on our way now to another one of those historic pubs that Joyce didn't write about, but we'll try to make it famous ourselves. Happily located near the green, Neary's is easily recognisable by these extended brass arms holding lanterns. They could have been shot off during the rebellion of 1916, when this was a rebel stronghold. It's a sophisticated atmosphere inside Neary's, one that artistic types have taken a liking to also. Neary's has long been a gathering place for theatre people. Writers came here too. There's a story about Patrick Kavanagh. He came in and sat at the bar with his paper spread out, writing his poetry one day. A barman knocked over a glass and papers were destroyed. Kavanagh said, "Jesus, you're not much of a barman, but you're a powerful critic of poetry." These days, the barmen and women are one of my favourite parts about Neary's. They pull a mean pint and keep a good secret. It's no secret that the pubs of Dublin are the ultimate places to hear Irish music. Dublin comes alive at night when musicians start to tune up. The energy flowing through the public houses in the evening is indescribable. Just listen. There is one particular spot in Dublin that everyone associates with Irish tunes. O'Donoghue's. There isn't a better place in the world to hear Irish music. I used to come here 30 or 40 years ago when the Clancy brothers and Tommy Macon were at their peak and when the Dubliners were starting out. This is the premier venue for aspiring musicians and experienced musicians. If you can make it at O'Donoghue's, you can make it anywhere. The eager crowds at O'Donoghue's pack in to hear who might be the next great Irish music star. After the Dubliners cut their teeth here, they went on to become international legends. One of the band members, Ronnie Drew, actually had his wedding reception here to show his thanks and respect for the place. The walls are a living tribute to the Dubliners and other great musicians who have honed their craft at O'Donoghue's. This pub sits in a structure built in 1789. The name O'Donoghue's appeared on the sign in 1934, and that's when the music began. That tradition still lives on today. Looking at the faces of these pleased patrons makes my heart swell with Irish pride. It's true what they say in Dublin, that here you're never more than 20 paces from a pub. We've tracked down a lot of history and had the crack together. It's been a liquid experience, and that's the richness of Dublin. But come and see for yourself. It's all just waiting for you.
Watch me, a big smile, right? I mean, we really want to feel it. We're having fun. And action.
Haven't we had a grand tour so far?
One more, just start again. From the top. Lots of it. Yeah, come on, you got it. Let's go. And it really is. Okay.
Say something sad, and I'll smile. Okay.
Your brother was worse.
Happily located near Spencer's Central.
We were over here.
His brother was worse.
Okay, let's try one more time. I think you can have a little more fun with that, okay?
I don't feel like it.
Oh. Well, in that case, let's try it.
I've had too much fun today.